Hey, I'm Kyle. This is my story. I was raised in a church home. I was raised as an evangelist kid since the age I was 2 years old, and to the age when I was 12, I lived in an RV. To say my childhood was different is an understatement. It was very different. And shortly after, probably my 8th grade year, that was kind of when I started maybe hanging around the wrong crowd a little bit, doing some choices that I knew I shouldn't have been doing, but thought I could maybe get away with it, and continued to go down that path throughout high school. Around the age of 14, when I first was introduced to drinking and smoking, I was searching for something that I couldn't find. I was trying to numb stuff out, I guess, that I didn't realize I was trying to do. But if I could explain how a life of someone who is constantly thinking about drugs is you wake up with the itch of having to have something. You go to bed fulfilling that itch, and then you do it over and over and over again until maybe something happens. When one night we were going to buy some drugs, we actually ended up buying heroin. Then we pulled up to a park. I remember we were walking around the park. Things just started spinning, and I just remember just black. I remember my face hitting the pavement, and I just remember darkness, total darkness at this point. Next thing, I wake up, and there's a bunch of lights around me. I remember there's a bunch of commotion, and I remember the doctor had came over and attended my bed. He just started asking me these very basic, simple questions like, do you know who you are? Do you know where you are? And I remember all I could do was shake my head yes or no.
We got the phone call, and Jim was on the phone, and I just remember listening and him saying, no, and I kept trying to ask questions, what happened, who is it, what is it? And in my heart, I knew it was Kyle. We finally make it to the hospital, and of course the doctor meets us. And I just remember walking through the hospital down the long hallway, and I just remember my heart just was beating so fast, and I was just a mess. Walking into the room, and in the corner, just seeing his torn clothes there, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, this was my son, and that was probably the hardest moment.
Finally, I remember waking up, and they were able to pull my ventilator out. And next thing I know, I wake up and I see my parents sitting by my bed. And I remember, man, this is not what I wanted. I did not want my family to be here. I did not want them to see this. So the doctor was basically explaining to us that with this overdose, I had lost oxygen to my brain. Basically, when I arrived at the hospital, they had no vitals. I was flatlined. When your son was not getting oxygen to his brain, if they go more than 3 minutes without oxygen to their brain, they're typically brain dead. I mean, there's nothing more that they can do on that side of it. He said when it hits 5 minutes of no oxygen, he said we usually typically call it at that point. He said your son went over 8.5 minutes without oxygen to his brain, flatlined. That he had never seen anything like that. And he said that they knew at that point that something crazy had happened.
That's when he proceeded to tell us that he had witnessed a miracle with him, and that he had been non-responsive for 8.5 minutes, and they didn't know how he was alive, but he was.
And I remember laying there, but at that point I was like, man, God, this isn't working what I'm doing here. This isn't working the way I've been living my life. It kind of hit me at one time where I'm laying there and I'm like, okay, Lord, like you kept me alive. You did this. And I remember laying there and I was like, okay, God, I'm ready for the full healing here. But I also know, Lord, I can't do this life without you. And I remember at that moment, it was when I really, truly, as a kid, I remember being in church. I probably got saved 500 times, raising my hand as a little boy. But I remember this moment for me, it was when I really, truly decided to give my heart to him. To not just say I'm a Christian, but to have that relationship with him. Since that moment, I have yet to have a single desire to alter my brain, to have any type of highness or any type of feeling out there. There was something I was missing deep down. And I had grown up knowing God. I had grown up knowing who he was. And for so long during my years of partying, I kept feeling like God is so far away from me. God has left my side. Even though when I look back now, God never one time left my side. I had realized man, God does have something in store for me. So when I do look back from the waking up in a hospital, from literally being from death to life at that point, and fast forward now, gosh, it's 13 years later. Doing that internship was one of the greatest things that God put in my life after that, because I meet my wife there, and going into youth ministry right after that, after graduation, being a part of youth ministry for about 6 years. In that time, we had 3 beautiful children. So when I look back at my life, I see that Jesus was the one who brought me back from death to life.